that vacation, he made the movie that you just saw at his home over about 12 days. Thank you. So, Joss, how quickly did you decide that that was a good idea?
Very slowly, very quickly. We had been having Shakespeare readings at my house for fun because we're normal, and we'd done much ado with these guys in the lead. And I was like, my wife Kai and I were like, well, we're going to film something. It should be that. It would be great. And then we had this beautiful house that she had built. We thought, well, we're going to be here. We had everything in place. I just hadn't really found my way into the text, and then after Avengers, when we were supposed to go on vacation, but it was just the last days of filming, she said, you know, this vacation we're going to take should be you making much ado. And I was like, woman, you are mad. And like 20 minutes later, I was like, cool, so how do we do this? She understood, as I did not, that it was in fact not what I did instead of my vacation, but the best vacation I'd ever taken. Not that we weren't working our asses off, not that I wasn't super stressed. And there's 3 words I can say about the amount of stress that I had during shooting this, and it's neighbor's yappy dog. Wow, I contemplate murder less often than you think, but there was a little dog aside in my heart. But besides that normal stress that I love, it was just, that was the chance to accomplish something wonderful, a text that I adore, a cast that I adore, a house location that I adore. It was a love letter. I spent 12 days writing a love letter. It's distributed.
So I just want to kind of go down the line here a little bit, and for each one of you actors, when you got the call/email from Joss saying that that he wanted you to be a participant of this, what went through your brain parts? What did you think?
I got the email and I shot a quick reply like, sure, yeah, I'm in, and then deep-seated panic. And didn't tell him I got that bad grade in the Shakespeare class in college. He's now since found out about it. Yeah, that's hard. It was just quickly.
I'm a fan. You guys look good.
Shakespeare readings at his house, so when he asked me, I thought it was just going to be him filming it on his iPhone or something. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds fun.
Do you remember where we were when I asked you?
I do. We were at Neil Patrick Harris was getting his star on the Walk of Fame. Joss was speaking at it. We were walking across the street to go to the after party, and he mentioned that all these people were coming up to him asking for autographs. And be like, hey, I'm doing this little thing. Do you want to be in it? Signing autographs. I'm like, what? Oh, okay.
As you do.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a movie. I was kind of in the flip cam. That's kind of what I was thinking. And we got up and there was trucks and crew. And I was like, oh, okay, movie. And then he said, there's this whole big story about, Benedict, Idris. He goes, now I got this whole great other deep line about Leonardo's age. And you're going to love it. So I was in.
I met Joss being an extra on the Avengers, so...
He made you cry, right?
He made me cry. He just made me cry.
For money. Not my usual. It's like hit a child.
And then I ended up Skyping the audition for this with him. And after I did the monologue, I said I want you to play hero.
yeah. I gotta go. Same page as everyone. One like experience the morning of the first day of shooting really sums it up. I stopped at Starbucks at like 6:30 in the morning, like on the way to the first day of shooting, and the girl recognized me. She was a fan of Joss's and his work and dogs, and she was like, "Oh hey," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm actually going to his house right now." She was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I guess we're making a movie." Until that point, like really, it was still unclear.
And now we know where the leak came from.
Yeah. I would love to find that person though again now. Anyway, but yeah, no, it's awesome. It's great. This is unbelievable. Never would have expected this. Got it.
What's up, people in the dome? I'd come from a long and spectacular summer in Albuquerque, making another little ensemble picture. It hadn't ended up so well for me. You can't pay me because what? You're not wrong. But I didn't know that at that point, so I was still a little bummed. But I wasn't really bummed because I just had such spectacular stuff to do, and I could enumerate all of the amazing things that he did with that character and that script, but all I really need to say is, so that's what it does. Wait, so I was the luckiest guy in the world, and then he invited me over to dinner at his house, and I was like, this is awesome, maybe he wants to stay friends. And I went over and he told me, I said, for God's sakes, I saw what you just went through for 7 months or something, and not including prep. Where are you going to go and be somewhere in a coma? And he said, actually, I'm not going to. I'm going to make a movie here. Much ado about nothing. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was kind of waiting for the guys in the white suits to show up behind him. And he was serious, and he asked me to be in it, and I couldn't. And I was heartbroken because I just said yes to something else. Then they pushed that 2 weeks, which you wouldn't think would be enough time to squeeze in a movie. But I didn't really have the guts to call him back and go, you know, you just gave me the greatest role of my life. And I'm free again in case that role is still open, or get rid of the person, even kill off the person who was gonna, you know. But then he called and said, listen, Dad, you know, it didn't work out with the other person. I was like, yes. He said, okay, can you get over here because we're rehearsing in an hour. And you start shooting tomorrow.
You're not exaggerating, by the way.
And it was just shocking and terrifying. And like Nathan Fillion, I kind of had an urge to flee. But it was the most kind of wild and magical 2 weeks I've ever spent. Except for that one time that... No.
I think I have a problem that I need to fix, is that when I see Joss's name come up on my cell phone, I just like start saying yes. And I'm really glad. I'm really glad he's never asked an inappropriate question. But so yeah, when he called and he said, "Do you want to do this?" I said, obviously, yes, without thinking. And
control yourself, man. Control yourself.
So yeah, that was what happened. He said, "I just am walking home from Alexis's house," and he agreed to do it. So that was another huge selling point. Not that I needed to be sold. I mean, it's my dream role with my 2 dream people already involved.
That's a dream where we're chasing her in Lenk's home.
Like Jillian, Joss made me cry in the Avengers too, but it's because the prosthetics really burned. And I
was weeping for that one day in Albuquerque, but that was the last time I had seen him before. He called me at the end of the shoot and said, I'm home, I need to talk to you, are you around? And I said, yeah, I'm at home. He said, I'm coming over. I hung up the phone and I said to Allie, oh shit. That I must have tanked that prosthetic crazy character, and he's coming to tell me, the gentleman he is, that you're cut from the Avengers and we're going to recast and reshoot. I want you to know it from me. But he didn't. He pulled out the script of Much Ado, and I don't know if he finished the sentence before I said yes, but I do remember saying yes. And then as he walked out the door, he said, oh, and learn your lines. Which was the best advice I had, because there were, you know, was it 12 days or 12 minutes? I don't know. It felt like something real short when we got to do it. But.
Those of you who think directing is like this amazing magical process, that's it. Cast these people, tell them know your words, and point the camera at them while they're talking. If you have visual style, good on you. I haven't done that yet.
Well, that was my next question, actually, Joss, was there anything that you wanted to do cinematically, since we're at the Cinerama Dome, with Shakespeare, that, as you sort of approached it, I know you only had 12 days to shoot it, so it wasn't like you could get a giant crane and do the one shot for a day, but...
I didn't want a giant crane. I didn't want to make a giant crane movie, though. One of the things, this evolved from the Shakespeare readings we had at the house, and the most extraordinary thing about them was how not just intimate, personal they were. It was, you know, it was not just actors but writers that I loved very much reading these roles, and they're just hearing somebody you've spent so much time with play this role, not to be like, and I will enact the role of Claudius, but just like this is how I talk. This is how you hear me talk when I'm angry. This is what I sound like. And it was really important to me to capture that intimacy and that the reality of this is just people. The thing that I missed was having some kind of rig so that I could have moved through the house more. The house is an extraordinary place. It's a wonderful location, and so much of it is about the flow, and so much of the movie is about going from seeing one thing and then coming to another, and we all the camera work is handheld except for one shot, and we had our we had 3 moving shots. I wished that I could have explored more, just because the structure itself was so gorgeous and really informed the story over time.
Well, that's for the sequel, then.
Much ado about nothing else.
How does one wrangle trapeze artists, burlesque trapeze artists at that, to be in your movie?
They were not actually burlesque trapeze artists. Very sorry to say. They were in Cirque du Soleil together, and my wife Kai and I had met them at a charity thing where they performed this extraordinary act, and they became friends of ours. And the trapeze was actually in our backyard for them to teach her trapeze lessons. And when I said, let's do the party in the backyard, she was like, perhaps there should be the Statham sisters doing trapeze so that it can be awesome. And I was like, I thought of that first in history.
This movie is so lovely and lighthearted, but you also embrace the darker elements of the story. Most notably, the scene where Hero is essentially scorned for having slept around, supposedly. There are some people who feel like she's being scorned because she's being revealed as not a virgin. I know you've talked about, Joss, the fact that you feel like she's being scorned because her beloved thinks that she's just been unfaithful. But for everyone involved in that scene, how was it to sort of pivot from this great, fizzy, lighthearted, sort of romantic comedy experience to something that was much heavier and darker and emotional? I'm trying to have an emotional, like a serious question while Joss is filming me. I'm listening. Every day Saturday one gets directed by Joss Whedon over his iPhone. But yes, for everyone sort of involved, in that scene, what was it like to go through it?
You know, if I could get through a scene where I was castigating someone for sleeping around without being annihilated by the irony police. That was my biggest task. Say, Jill, it's an odd scene. It's certainly the one you read and you go, wow, that's a pretty extreme reaction. You know? It's his daughter, it's his only daughter, he loves her more than life itself, and it feels anachronistic and odd that he's kind of going, I do not wake up, die. Hey, she slept with somebody. Jesus. Right, again, hard, I was having a little trouble relating. And, but I guess it's, again, to me, it felt like a little bit, it felt clear to me that it wasn't just about not being a virgin, it was about a betrayal, and it was about the humiliation, the shame, and I also felt it was one of the things that really worked a lot. It was a magical power that worked a lot, a superpower that Joss wielded, which was we didn't have time to I didn't have time, certainly, to get too into it, and you had to kind of trust it and throw yourself into it, and when I see it, it doesn't bump me. It feels like someone having a bad, vain, horrible overreaction to something that feels shameful to them, and then quickly kind of walking it back and not being sure at all.
That's my superpower? A shitty schedule?
No, dude. It's one of them. You've got a lot of them. That's the one that worked for me that day. I'm gonna get killed again, I can fucking tell.
Next week on Slightly Fewer Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Wait, you didn't say I was a ghost? I'm a ghost on this? But I mean, it was a really complex scene for you guys to play.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd read the play once in college and then seen it performed at my college, and I hadn't seen the Brana version, and that's it. But more than anything, the reputation preceded it. You know, it's a comedy. It's maybe his best comedy, or one of his most famous comedies, and so. This, I guess, in a way, I was lucky because at first it was puzzling to me to have this scene or the character. You know, I thought the character was really challenging, and my first instinct was just to make him a jerk, because otherwise, how else is it going to be funny? You know, because it's got to be funny, right? It's a comedy. But then, you know, the more I read it and the couple weeks preceding shooting, you know, I just sort of took it as the story is what it is, and like you said, Clark, it's like it's overreaction. It's a quick reaction. It's quick to judge, but you know he's also so quick to forgive or seek forgiveness. And so I sort of approach. I think I try and approach everything the same, just to just tell the story. And you know, there's obviously funny moments surrounding the character, but in that particular scene, it's betrayal, it's humiliation, it's this kind of dream of his shattered, and Joss's one of his first directions to me was, I want you to play him as a temperamental jock and not the wet he normally is, and that was perfect for that scene. That he's kind of simple and gullible, and then when this whole sort of dream of his shatters, his only way to react is aggressive, you know, and violent, and you know, he's enraged. So to me, once I could forget everything that I knew about, much ado about nothing, and just focus on the sort of script in front of me, so to speak. And then it became easier. Yeah, that's it.
It was easy, but your reaction when we kept breaking and laughing.
I laugh all the time.
That's his like when he gets like nervous, laughter. So it's like sad. But I think. For me, it was hard. I mean, I guess here was kind of the representation of the woman that she's so silent, and he doesn't give her the lines to stand up for
while they were filming that, Nathan and I, we actually, it's a scene that got cut from the film, but we're in our New York apartment, and we're cooking, and Rachel comes in, I'm like, you got a haircut? No! There's so much better long hair, and she's cooking, and I'm tasting this pasta. It's hilarious. Just look for that on the DVD features. You're gonna love it. I'm so proud of it.
That scene leads into one of my absolute favorite scenes in all of film Shakespeare, which is the "If I Were a Man" speech that Amy delivers. I just wanted to say that so she would get the applause, because I actually want to ask about the swan dive you took down the stairs. Are you okay?
I think the funniest part of that is that I'm not sure if they were just in the front room or outside, but the stunt guy who Josh hired was someone from Angel that I hadn't seen in a long time. But I came in and was like, Mike, hey! He was like, well, I set up this mat and we worked through the whole scene and the whole stunt, and nobody was around. They were all busy doing another shot. So when we went to the first rehearsal, nobody knew that there was a mat there. And I was like, well, let's just run through the scene. And I fell down the stairs, and they was like, oh my God! Josh was like, well, that'll work.
There were pratfalls throughout this entire movie. Alexis, you...
I don't know what you're talking about.
Who came up with the shrubbery idea?
The twig. Do you know where that?
I assumed it was
I
you,
think I
but
did.
I'm willing to take credit for it. I will throw myself on that sword.
I think right before we went, I think I did say to either the AD or the prop guy, quick, shrub, but really small. Because I realized if he's hiding behind something that he can't hide behind, that would be silly.
It's comedy.
It's a romantic comedy.
So, Josh, before we go, I wanted to know, you've talked about the fact that this movie was necessary for you in between marshaling the Avengers. But what did it do for you, as a creative person, this entire experience?
I've never had the opportunity on this level to interpret somebody else's work. I've directed a couple of episodes of shows that I love, and that was my really only experience. It really wasn't much. It's in some ways it was an easy fallback for me, because I just was like, I'm going to spend 12 days depending on the people I love to hold me up. I'm going to give them an arena. I'm going to give them, a mise-en-scène that makes sense to them, and they're going to go and they're going to get it done. And that's my job. But at the same time, because I wasn't worried about the words, and was just interpreting them, I got to work on a purely visual level, even at that breakneck pace, which I don't often get to do. And so it was, besides just being comforting and a return to sort of, this is why I started wanting to do this in the first place. I felt like I'm telling the story in a way that I never have. I'm understanding the challenges of the director in a way that I never have. And I don't have the burden of, worrying about how the words will work. I only have the burden of visually interpreting them and, marshaling this truth. And so, I'm looking at it now. Every time I watch the movie, I see something that I didn't understand, or an influence that I didn't recognize. So, I don't consciously go, well, this will be an exercise in blank. It's more just like, I love this. I want to interpret it. I want to hear it said. I want to be a part of saying it. I want to do, I want to edit it. And I did that. I want to do the music. I want to do as much as I can. If I could play all the parts, I would. Luckily for all of you, I never will. But it's like I love the whole process, and so getting to sort of focus on the areas, and and not just sort of be the writer whose first job is to protect that idea he had. Hopefully it will inform everything that comes after, but often in ways that I won't understand until years from now.
Well, on that note, thank you all for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.